Hey, hi. Hang on, let me just mention this. Spam messages. There's one more comments. Copy this and keep saying. Cool. Hi. Uh, Sorry, guys. It's been a long time since I've come over here. This is not straight. This is going to bother me. Hang on. Sorry. There we are. My little fan is in frame. Can I move it here? It's out of frame. Yes, it is out of frame. Oh, I got a notification that I'm live. Cool. I'm subscribed to myself, of course. Hi, Monil. Hi, Didi. For those of you who don't know, Didi's my wife. What does this make super chat more fun as goal? Okay, 10 super chats. I have no idea what this is. Okay, YouTube is pushing some. Sir, please speak. Okay, hi. What's up? What's up, guys? What's up? I've got 58 more minutes that I can be online. I've never done a 1 hour session. Let's try and do 1 hour today. Meta tuning IMs? No, I have not tried. What is the IM under 5,000 as per you? I really like the Kiwi Ears Cadenza. That's genuinely a very good value for money set of IMs. Um, I mean, I really do like some of the stuff in the sub 2000 category. You've got the Tangzu Warner, that's one of my favorites. JD one's nice for first time users. But if you really want to enjoy your IMs, I'd say that the Kiwi US Cadenza is a value for money set. You're better off spending a little bit extra and going for that instead of anything the sub 2000 range. So yeah, check out my review on that if you haven't. Raj, hi, is the Oriveti OD200 worth 9K? Well, it depends on what your taste is. I've done a review on the Oriveti OD200 versus Meze Alba versus SimGot SM4. All really good IMs, I must say. The Alba doesn't seem too impressive when you first hear it, also because the DAC provided with it is not great. It's not something I'd really recommend pairing with the Alba. In fact, it's almost like Meze shot themselves in the foot with that um, specific DAC amp. I've paired it with the RZ550 DAC amp from Rose's Elsa, also the i5 Go Link. This is a genuinely a very good one. Come on, man, focus. Oh, sorry, I have to cover my eyes. This is the RZ2 550 from Rose's Elsa. Very powerful little DAC amp. I don't think I've left it in the description below for in case you guys want to buy it. I'll try and put that. Um, but it's actually a very good DAC amp, and the Alba opens up with every other thing I've connected to it. So I use the DD Hi-Fi high-res DAC from Headphone Zone and DD Hi-Fi, Hi-Fi Go Link, this Rose's Elsa, and every other DAC amp that I've paired it with is superior than the one provided by Meze. So just avoid that one. So, but yeah, the OD200 I'd say is a little forward in the mids compared to the SM4 and Alba, but it is very bass prominent. So if that's in your taste, it makes sense to go for. But watch my review on it. I go into a lot of detail with that. Oh, Mohan, you're after gaming. Gaming wise, what did I use? I plugged in a set of IEMs and I really like those. Uh, I plugged in some IEMs to the my Steam Deck. I forget which ones. I must have been testing maybe the Keyfine Clean or the Keyfine Delchi just for fun, and they were surprisingly good. In fact, I have paired a lot of wireless earphones, even ones that claim that they are very good with spatial audio, to the Steam Deck and IEMs, and I find IEMs to be far superior. Any IEM, honestly, in that sub 5,000 range, but under 5,000, I know is a tricky one because for me, I'd say that 2999 cadenza is pretty good. I've not tested most other stuff in that price range, but I'd say the Delchi and Clean are two very good sets of earphones to consider, but they're a little more expensive than 5,000, but they are worth that little bit extra because you get something that's, I think, significantly better than the stuff in the 2-3,000 price range. So maybe consider that. Watch my reviews on the Keyfine Delchi, Keyfine Clean. Maybe SimGot EW 300 is also a very impressive set of IEMs. Those are also good. But at the same time, they do not have microphones. That's another problem. If you want a mic, you might have to get a separate cable that has a microphone. AV, hi. Hi, thanks for that. That's a sweet comment. Yeah, I enjoy what I do. I like the whole audio thing. I've always loved audio. So I'm happy to take the time. The my reviews, I think it's more the product that speaks for it than I do. I just like to make sure that I translate that to help anyone who's watching. I genuinely want people to understand and love audio and music and all that sort of stuff. So I like to take my time. Thanks for that, Avi. That's a very sweet comment. Sumanta, hi Paul. Can you suggest a TDS under 5K and 6K? I have previously used Oppo Enco 3 Pro, one of my favorites, and I'm accustomed to its soundstage. I want an upgrade over it. Can you give me some name? Um, so to be very honest with you, I've not been reviewing too many mass market earphones lately, but I have started doing that again. I have, in fact, this is a set of earphones I'm working on right now. I've just started listening to this literally last night. Um, and I'm doing a run of mass market reviews for the next few weeks because I've it's fun. And I must say that from what I've heard in this price range, Oppo Enco A3 Pro is a bit dated. Then I like the Realme Buds F5 Pro. I have the OnePlus Buds 3 was okay. It was not great for detail and whatever else. It's fine for bass if you're into that kind of loudness and bass enthusiasm. But my first impressions of the Realme Buds A7 Pro is, to me, it seems like there's something wrong. Like, I've been hearing so much high-res stuff, IEMs and all that sort of stuff. But I've also been reviewing the JBL Tune Beam 2, JBL Tune Buds 2, and Flex 2, Tune Flex 2, and all of them, I have to say, are tuned terrifically well. There was a time where Harman, or should I say JBL, wasn't so obsessed with clarity and detail, and I feel that those will sound superior to the Realme. So I plan on having those in the same review for comparison sometime this month. But yeah, if you're looking at sub 6 and 5K, I would definitely recommend you look at either the JBL TuneBeam 2. I don't know if I've got it mentioned in the description below. All the stuff in my description is affiliate links, by the way, if you guys are interested to support the channel. But feel free to watch my review on the JBL TuneBeam 2. It's genuinely a great sounding set of earphones, great value for money. I think it's about 5,999. And they've worked on a lot of issues that the previous generation had. So it's nice to see that they're not just pushing products out. They're genuinely sort of focusing on the things that the customers have had issues with, and they're improving on that. So that's quite commendable. So check out my TuneBeam 2 review. Of course, I think it's genuinely a good set to consider buying. It is definitely going to be heavier sounding than your Oppo Enco A3 Pro. The Oppo Enco A3 wasn't too enthusiastic in the bass, but it was pretty good for clarity. The JBL does well for clarity, but it is heavy in the bass. But the bass is not so heavy where it eats into a lot of your details. So thankfully, you do get a manual EQ you can tune. If the bass is too much for you, just reduce that lower frequency, and you should enjoy the JBLs pretty well. Hope that helps. Anonymous, hi. What's your favorite song when you review IMs? Man, I've got so many. In fact, damn, man, I've been wanting to share my playlist with you guys. I've been trying to figure out all that. I've just not had the time to do it. But I have a whole lot of songs that I kind of favorite on Apple Music, and that entire list I went through for the first time myself like a week ago when I was listening to my uh, trusted LS50s in my listening room, and I've got some nice stuff there. There's a lot of stuff, so I don't have one specific song, but what really pulls me in is especially a lot of classical music. I like a lot of classical music because it's able to sort of really calm me. Sort of at the end of the day, it's a lot of fun to listen to that and be able to envision the musicians actually getting involved in it, and uh, really pour their souls out with their instruments. So I really do like that. But then of course it depends on my mood. If I want to listen to upbeat stuff, or it depends on a lot of things. So I don't have one favorite specific album or song. There's a few of them. Moving on, just wanted to say hi Sailesh. Big fan, man. I never thought I'd have fans. It's pretty funny when people say that, but thank you. Raj, hi. I like Tangsu 1 SC overall and comfort of BL02. Or do you mean BL03 version 3? But I don't like too boomy sound. Considering OD200 or Alba, your thoughts on including that? Good question, Raj. This is a very good question. Um, uh, Dion. Uh, Sorry. Yeah, coming back to Raj. Didi is my wife. She's trying to distract me. She's supposed to help me out, not distract me. Yeah, so Raj, that's a very good question. I do have a review of the OD200 versus the Meze Alba versus the SimGod SM4. All very, really good IEMs. The Meze Alba, I genuinely thought was not worth anything when I first reviewed it. I don't think my review was very good about it, to be honest. But that is also in part because the Meze Alba was sent along with an accompanied DAC amp that the company sends, and it did sound very flat, very boring, not enthusiastic. It's like it didn't want to show up to work. But when I paired it with anything else I had on my desk, I've got a Roses Elsa RZ550, Hi-Fi Go Link, Audio Cooler Slim D07, and I've got the DD Hi-Fi Hi-Res DAC. Plugged it into each and every one of them, they are superior than what Meze gives, and it came so much more alive. So in that review, I break down how they sound. So I'd say give that review of mine a look. See how the OD200 sounds, if that suits your taste, and see how the Meze Alba sounds, because both have got their own characteristics. It's not that one is better or one is the best. It's a matter of opinion, and it's a matter of what your taste is. So if you sort of understand the way I break things down, it should sort of help you understand which one's for you. I myself would kind of lean more towards the Alba personally for my taste, because the OD200 is a little too forward in the mids, in the upper mids to a certain extent, and the lower frequencies. The Alba is kind of a little more balanced, a little more easygoing. So I did like that. A little more fun to listen to. But yeah, give that review a look. It'll give you a better understanding. I hope that helps you, Raj. AV, hi. Recently bought Samsung Buds Pro 3 for 9K. It was a leap of faith as the price was low on Amazon. Genuinely surprised by the sound stage and instrument separation. Have you had a chance to hear? No, I have not, AV, but I know for a fact that ever since Samsung acquired the Harman Group, they've been prioritizing that R&D towards Samsung equipment. Um, I think a lot of it does come to JBL, yes, for sure, but Samsung is prioritized. So if you've gotten those for 9K, that's a pretty good deal. Um, Soundstage wise, for wireless earphones, it's very rare to find something that sounds nice and wide and tall and terrifically detailed. JBL does have some of that stuff, but I do know for a fact that Samsung earphones have been sounding great for years. In fact, uh, I've had a lot of people in the comments tell me review Samsung stuff, but I've been kind of um, caught up with reviewing other stuff that a lot of other manufacturers are sending. So I'm giving manufacturers who trust me priority over reviewing other stuff. So yeah, I've not yet reviewed Samsung stuff, and the guys from Harman, are primarily sending me a whole bunch of JBL stuff. So I've not really reviewed Samsung stuff yet. But I mean, that's a pretty good deal. Enjoy your earphones. Um, Moving on, Monil. Hi, thanks for the reply. Considering SIM card EW200, key fine clean, 7 Hz G1. Okay, I've not heard the 7 Hz G1. Best for FPS games. Between the clean and EW200, from what I remember from memory, the EW200 was sensational. In fact, it's one of the IEMs at a terrific price range that came out, and I genuinely liked it because it had good stage, it had very good imaging. For the price it came in at it was sensational. It's one of the few IEMs that I've gotten for review that has actually practically called to me and said, play this kind of genre, almost as if it knew it'll do very well at classical and blues and jazz and all that sort of stuff, like with genuine acoustic instruments. um, and I always recommend that it's best for that. It is not the most enthusiastic in the lower frequencies, but at the same time, it exists to a certain extent. So EW200 is a sensational set of IEMs that I really like, but the clean gives you a more rounded sort of approach. Got a little more depth. It's a little warmer sounding. It's not, I mean, not that the EW200 is very bright. It's a bit on the brighter side compared to the clean. But yeah, I'd say maybe the clean is a better all rounder, and I have not tested the 7 G1, so I don't want to comment on that. I hope that helps answer you. Lincoln, hi. Hi, Lincoln. I have not. Yeah, Dion. Thanks for the tea, man. I'm sipping it right now. It's tradition. I have not, anonymous. I have not faced hissing on the D07. I have heard of people having a lot of issues with the D07, but I have not yet faced it. But then again, just to make it very clear, I am not using this product like you would be. I'm sure if you've bought it, you spent your hard earned money on it, and you're plugging it into your phone every day and you're using it every day, and it's getting pulled and twisted and used properly. With me, I'll get them, I'll run them in for some time, and then after that, I'll just sort of, it'll be on my desk. They're not used the way you guys would. So I can see where your question is coming from, because I have gone through Reddit and all, and a lot of people have complained about some of the things you're mentioning. Uh, Moving on immediately. Thanks, babes. Sumanta. Yeah, hi. Thanks, man. You, my go-to man, purchasing Q3 Pro after your review. It was great. Actually, I'm also considering Earphone 4 Pro or JBL Tune Beam 2. Which one you go for? Love your content. Thanks, Sumanta. That's a very sweet comment. Thank you. So I have heard from a few guys in the comments over the last 2 days that the Earphone Air Pro 4 is not available. It's been out of stock for quite a while. Um, from what I understand is that Earphone usually replenishes their stock pretty fast, but they've not done it in a while. So I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's flying off the shelves abroad and they don't have enough to send here. That's a possibility. Um, Based on that alone, I'll say go for the Tune Beam 2. It's genuinely a nice set of earphones. And for an affordable set of earphones compared to anything else I've heard, including the Realme Buds Air 7 Pro that I've got here, the Tune Beam actually does a good job with spatial audio. So if that's something that you want for movies and for games and for music and all, uh, uh, the Tune Beam 2 and the other Tune series like the Buds and the Flex 2 are some of the best sounding stuff I've heard. In fact, my reviews on the Tune Buds 2 should be coming out on Monday, I hope. Fingers crossed. And the Flex should also come sometime next week. So they're genuinely good products. JBL has really upped their game compared to the previous generation. They've worked on a lot of issues that the previous ones had, and they've taken a lot of inputs from customers, not just internal discussions. So they are listening to their customers, which is a very good big deal. So I'll say, yeah, check out the TuneBeam 2. And another thing is, when I did review the TuneBeam 2, you might want to check this out before you commit to it. Now, you can buy from the affiliate link, of course, from my video if you want to support the channel. If you don't want to, don't feel bad about it. That's fine. But at the same time, I think JBL had an offer for a plus 12-month warranty if you bought it from their website. So see if that is still live, because then if you do still get that deal, you're getting a 2-year warranty in case something goes wrong. But also at the same time, having said that, I have seen some comments from some people that the after sales service from JBL isn't exactly the best. I think it'll be better in metropolitan cities, or I mean, it depends who you run into, man, and who's dealing with it. But yeah, I'd say all in all, the Tune Beam 2 is a better bet right now since the Air Pro 4 is out of stock. Uh, Moving on. AV, oh, thanks, man. That's wow. That's very sweet of you. Thanks for the. What is this? Is this like a super thanks, or I don't know what this is? How do I? Ah, okay. Let me read your comments since you've contributed towards keeping this channel afloat. Can you suggest IEMs under 15,000 and 10,000 for watching movies? I think multiple drivers will provide a wider soundstage and better separation than a single dynamic driver, allowing me to hear very small sounds like footsteps. Okay, before I answer you, AVAV, guys, I've not forgotten you. I'll come back to you, but let me just prioritize AVAV for a second. Um, so here's the thing, man. This concept of more drivers, better sound is kind of a myth. Um, I found the contrary, especially with speakers. I found speakers with fewer drivers are usually cleaner sounding. There's less distortion and disruption when you've got one point source. And I think the same applies also to IEMs. And the thing is with IEMs, a lot of these brands that are doing this now with multiple drivers, if you notice, for example, a set of IEMs that I will recommend to you is the SimGot SM4, the Supermix 4. Check out my review on it. It does have four drivers, and it doesn't just have four of the same drivers, it has four different drivers. I think one's a piezoelectric, one's a dynamic driver, one's a planar, and one is a something. Did I say dynamic? But it's got four different drivers. And to make sure that there's no sort of distortion going on between everything that's going on, each driver sort of comes down through via a tube, or should I say they've tried to cater all the frequencies, so the highs, mids, and lows come in three separate tubes, and the end of the IEM that points into your ear canal actually has three tubes, three openings. So it's delivered to you. Then there's no sort of distortion and all, or standing wave in the IEM. Now, the SM4 is definitely a very good performer. In fact, for what you are looking for, you want to hear every single detail, every single footstep, uh, wider soundstage, all that sort of stuff. To be very honest with you, I have not reviewed too many IEMs in this segment. For example, I have done the OD200 and Alba, but that's around 9-10 grand. But I did find myself preferring the SM4 because it's not as blatantly in your face with mids and bass and all that sort of stuff. It's surprisingly well detailed. Um, and also, I've seen a few reviews before I got my hands on it where people thought it was in the $300 price range. And evidently not. It's in the $150 price range, I'd say. So it's definitely terrific value for money. So feel free to give that review of mine a look. The SM4 is certainly uh, a very good set of IMs to consider. So hang on, guys. Sorry, where was I last? Um, I hope that helps you, AVAV. And then where do I go now? Where was I? I made you tea. Okay, thanks. Your fun tune beam. Okay, bought Delchi A after your review. Been loving. Terrific, Lincoln. Enjoy your IEMs. The book nook. Hi, Ball. Are you interested in selling your NFAQs? NM20 review unit. I love the color instead of black one. I've been toying with the idea of selling stuff because I've got a lot of IEMs lying around now. So I'm not saying anything officially. I'm not selling stuff just yet, but I'm thinking of doing some garage sales. But having said that, the book nook, I have promised these to somebody. They were very keen on getting a monitor set of IEMs, and this is exactly that. I mean, if you've heard yours, it's kind of catered more towards the musician or the audio editor than more than it is for an audiophile. But yeah, I've actually promised it to somebody else, so I won't be selling it to anyone, sadly. Raj, are we allowed to ask personal questions? Where are you from? I'd rather not say. Also, what do you do besides music? I'd rather not say. Really curious how to manage YouTube along with your job. Yeah, it's not easy. I'll tell you that much. Managing all that and also trying to be a very present father. My child is almost 5 years old, and I'm trying to be a very present dad and do this and whatever work I get. So It is difficult, but at the same time, YouTube is kind of a it's been a passion project because audio has always been something I've loved since I was very little, and this was one way I could do it. So here I am. How much difference does wired versus wired make in sound quality, whether it's TVs, wireless headphones? Monil, wired and wireless stuff. That's also a interesting question because I have done a review of the Tangzu Warner versus the JBL 230 NC years ago, and I've done kind of like a side by side comparison. Usually, wired has much better separation. It's you have the chances of listening to stuff uh, in higher quality because wireless does have its caps. They have their limits. So I'd say, I mean, I myself prefer wired for obvious reasons, especially if you're into the whole hi-fi thing. If you're just a casual listener, it doesn't really matter. It's not really that relevant. Um, but yeah, it does make a difference, a wired and wireless setup. If you're looking for all the little nuances. Sudipta, hi. I want an IM with specifically targeted to cater vocals with a little elevated bass and better clarity and imaging. Under the budget of 3000, go for the KVS Cadenza. Have a look at my review on the KVS Cadenza. It fits your budget very well, and I think everything you've mentioned, it checks on that list. Uh, Lincoln, which are my favorite ear tips for IEMs? I got a set of ear tips from EPZ, uh, and I use these. These are called the M100. They're a little grippy, and they do tend to control a lot of excessive bass from some IEMs. So I've been enjoying these. I don't know if they're available in India, but these are definitely a nice set. And one other thing I like about them is that they're quite grippy. So there are some IEMs that if they don't fit properly, they keep popping out. These ones have good traction, so they really hold when you wear them. Moving on, is it really true that 2K IEM sound better than AirPod Pro and Galaxy? I know where this question is coming from. Monil. Um, it's subjective, man. Like that's all I can say. It is subjective. To some people, yes. To some people, no. Personally, I think I've heard some AirPods Pro stuff. I've heard some stuff in the 20,000 range, 30,000 range. Some people, man, I don't think entirely it does make complete sense. It depends what you're throwing at it. There are a lot of factors that come to play, but there are situations where it can sound better. There are situations where it can sound absolute rubbish. And oh gosh, somebody else has thrown a support amount. Thank you so much, Sumanta. Another one for you. Hope I'm not bothering. I'm using Audio D08 with you too. I want upgrade cable. Can't choose any. Upgrade cables, I've not bought myself. And thanks so much for the support, man. I really appreciate that. Uh, you guys are actually helping keep the channel alive. Thank you so much. But upgrade cables, I've not bought or played around with myself, but I have done so at some Headphone Zone events. And once I went to the Sennheiser showroom to listen to a whole bunch of open backs and the HD series amps. So I was 3, 4, 5 lakhs worth of equipment, and we tried different cables, balanced, single-ended, all this sort of stuff. And I myself was a skeptic of this whole cable thing, but I'm happy to say that there is a difference. I mean, the way cables are made and isolated and all this sort of stuff, it's not something that you need to hear me telling you, to be honest. Because, very honestly speaking, one thing I believe in is being a skeptic. Everything you're hearing me say, it should go down as being rubbish. Write it off as not being true. Do it yourself, listen to it yourself, experiment with it yourself, and then come to your own conclusions. But yeah, I mean, if you can go to some place and test out cables, there's nothing like it. I think there are very few stores. I think Headphone Zone has their place in Bombay. There's an audio store or something they called an audio store in Pune. Where else? There's one other one. But yeah, I mean, they're mainly in Bombay and Pune. But try and see if you can get your hands on some demo things, cables. Chalo, let me come back to where was I? Gosh. Okay, Monal. 2K sound better than AirPods. Yeah, yeah. So I think I've answered. Bro, Sony or JBL Live? Aditya, I have not tested the Sony CH720N. So I don't want to give you any wrong information, but Sony does good stuff, man. If you're loyal towards Sony, if you used Sony products in the past, go for it. But I did like the JBL Live 770, but there were some elements of it that I think too forward for me. Like I myself am not a bass enthusiast, but I think that was particularly heavy in the bass, but very comfortable. They had large sort of ear pads, very comfortable on the ears. If of course you do want to know more about it, feel free to watch my review. I've also compared it with the Tune 770 NC, so have a look at that video if you'd like to. Uh, and then, okay, Mr. Sammy, planning to buy an IEM for my parents. Wow. They mainly listen to old classical songs. Suggest a beginner IEM for them. And what's the difference between Tangzu 1 and 1 or 2? I have not tested 1 or 2. I have only tested the 1 or the initial version of it. If your parents are just getting into it, I would not recommend the Warner if you're looking at utmost detail and clarity, because the Tangzu approaches it in a very different way. It's not elevated in the high frequency and the upper mids like say the JD1. The JD1 is more impressive for a beginner person getting into the hobby. They'll say, "Oh wow, it's super clarity, super impressive." So JD1 makes more sense that way. The Warner is appreciated by more people who have been in the hobby for longer. So I'd say maybe consider the JD1 at that price range. Also, the older you are, you start to lose the sensitivity to the higher frequencies. So the Warner might seem a little too soft in the highs. The JD1 will compensate for that. I don't know how old your parents are, but chances are the JD1 will sound crisper to them, or should I say better detailed, because of that accentuation over there. Moving on, gosh, why can't she chit chat with you side by side? Yeah, thanks, man. This is what I've been trying to tell her for so long. In fact, I've been wanting to make videos with her and get her views on some audio products. But I mean, she's also a bit caught up, man. She's not going to make the time, or can make the time rather. Even if she can, it's difficult for her. But yeah, she's a sweetheart. We've been married. Geez, it's been 20. Today this is 25. Yeah, so it'll be 11 years since we got married now. Yeah, I'll show that comment. Hey, hi, Paul. Just wanted curious case. Okay, I just wanted your opinion on whether to purchase an Android app or a non-Android app. I love the form factor of non-Android app, but I don't have any lossless audio collection offline. See, if you do get an Android app, you have access to Apple Music, you can always save that music on your app, which is cool. I myself have not really played around with a lot of the newer stuff. I'm still using my trusted old FIO X5 from 2014. It's working beautifully well. It takes a little memory card for everything, and it's very simple and to the point. It's purely a music player. No fancy software, no fancy OS. It's just for music. If you're looking for simplicity, I'd say go for a non-Android one, of course. But if you are looking for all the other fancy stuff, I find having an Android app an overkill. I find having a large screen music player overkill, because it's not for content absorption, it's not for Instagram, it's not for YouTube, it's not for that, it's purely for music. So I find this whole concept of music players with larger screens a bit absurd. But yeah, I mean, this is something you'll have to also figure out. But if you do have an Android one, you can download the Apple stuff if you've got a subscription, and you can use it offline, for when you're traveling, or if you don't have Wi-Fi, which is cool. Curious case, I'm planning to buy the Hibi R1. Okay, so Hibi, I've checked out some Hibi stuff. It's cool, but I've not handled it, so I can't really comment on it. The book, no, nothing audio, so you can't focus. Yeah. Hey, why can't I like this comment? So sweet, Dion. Okay, moving on. Raj, but just wanted to mention that D07 has some hissing issue with some budget cheap IMs, and also if your laptop's motherboard has some issue while plugged in and depends on your system as well. Okay, that's a good call out. Whoever mentioned that thing about the hissing, thanks for that. I didn't know this. I've learned something new from Raj. Thank you. Um, Mostly, I have heard that IMs provide much better value for money than over-ear audiophile headphones. Can you guess that approximately at what cost IMs can match 20K over-ear audiophile headphones? Monil, I like you, man. Like, have you been on my other lives? You're asking some superb questions, yeah. These are really like I like it when I get the cogs moving. Okay, so I'll tell you one thing. I myself have always liked, I've loved speakers for the longest time. And then after I considered myself more of an audiophile when it came to speakers. I've always preferred to call myself a stereophile more than an audiophile. But then I eventually heard some high-res headphones, and the first ones I ever got was these ones. This is the Bear Dynamic DT990. I think these went for about 18,000 or 19,000 or something like that. And the thing is, when you start talking about headphones and IEMs, in essence they are the same, in the sense they are both sending you an analog signal. They are both trying to give you a certain experience with audio. It's like saying, I'm buying this car because it's going to take me from A to B and I really like it. So it might be a performance car, it might be a Maruti 800 for all anyone cares. 800 is also beautiful cars, but an 800 will take you from point A to point B, so will a Splendor. you know but the thing is, the car and the bike will do the same thing, but they'll give you different experiences. The Splendor will let you know the 5-degree drop when you ride through a forest area. You'll feel more wind on your body through your hair. If you've got one of those, slightly more raised helmets or whatever else, or it's a different experience. And I hold the same as being true with IEMs and headphones. They are slightly different experiences because one is comfort, one is staging. The Bear Dynamics, despite being not the most expensive headphones out there for audiophile stuff, the DT9 990 and 990 Pro have surprisingly good stage. In fact, I've reviewed the DT990 Pro that I borrowed from a friend of mine, and I remember while listening to it, plugged into my Shitlier 2. While listening to it, I genuinely thought there was something happening like 10 feet away from me. It was a surreal experience. I have not experienced that with IEMs yet. Maybe I've not listened to high end enough IEMs, but the stuff I've heard, I think the most expensive IEMs I've spent time with might be around 20 ish grand, 22, 25,000, uh, maybe 22, the EA 1000 from SimGod. So I know there's a lot more premium stuff out there, but I have heard I spend more time with expensive headphones, so I can genuinely say there's a lot more you can get from them. But again, expect diminishing returns. And yeah, I mean, if you're looking at IEMs that can match 20K over your audiophile headphones, that's a very subjective question. Like, it depends on what your preferences are. Do you want heavy bass? Do you want better imaging, wider stage? I know, at least from my experience, I have not experienced as wide a stage from IEMs than I have from headphones, because headphones can breathe, and open backside headphones can breathe. So to say, for example, the DT990, they're a semi-open back. HD700s are an open back. HD800s are an open back. I heard the Yamaha YH5000, which is a $5,000 headphone from Yamaha. Those are also open back, and those are planar magnetics. And planar magnetic, or orthodynamic as Yamaha calls them, they normally, the authors have this zigzag sort of driver that's made like this along a rectangle. The Yamaha, on the other hand, has this very circular thing, that so it goes from small to larger. So it's got a very different way of uh, pushing air out to you rather than the zigzag form. So it's quite interesting how they've done all of this. So yeah, sorry, I'm rambling again, but it's very subjective, Monil, but interesting question. I really like that question. Thank you, AV. You're welcome. I don't know what you're thanking me for, but you're most welcome. I'm planning to buy Type C IEM. How is FIO JD1? I like the FIO JD1. I've not tested the Type C, but I know for a fact that it has 5 different modes you can toggle through. A very good option to have when you're just getting into the hobby, because then you can listen to these different tunings and figure out the kind of sound you like. So at that price for the Type C, having this option is a great step into the hobby, because it will let you know what kind of sound you want or the kind of sound you are looking for. Terrific way to really get into the whole hobby. And I'd say the normal tuning will be that of the one that I reviewed, but the one I reviewed would have had very little coloration with the DAC amp I connected it to, of course. Moving on, experiment Archie. Is it easy to order from COS website in India? Are there custom duties? I think COS has come back onto the Headphone Zone website, Experimental Archive. You can check it out there because I think lately customs is causing a lot of issues. In fact, for every product that I get a call from them. So it's they're really hammering down. There was a time when it wasn't as bad, but now it's difficult. So if you can get it from the guys at Headphone Zone, try that out. Hi Paul, I'm using Tangzu One SG for a while. How well of an upgrade Keyfan Clean will be in regards to Tangzu Warner, something under $20. Um, Dushyant, if you, I've done a review between the Keyfine Delchi and Keyfine Clean, and very minor differences. But I found myself preferring the Delchi. It's a little warmer sounding. It's a little more musical. I just preferred it. So you can watch that review if you haven't already. But having said that, if you're looking for an upgrade, Tangzu to Keyfine, should I say the Warner to this? The Tangzu is a very capable set of IEMs. It's very well detailed, and in a good way. It's not over accentuating, the highs and the upper mids to give you the illusion of better clarity. So I'd say upgrade, yeah, to a certain extent. Things will be a little tighter in detail, slightly better nuance, better hardware, slightly different tuning. It'll be a different flavor. It's not going to be like, night and day between the Tangzu and that. Night and day is if you don't have IEMs and you get the Tangzu Honor. That's night and day. But between the clean and Tangzu, I'll say it's okay. It's minor. It's not a major upgrade, but it is a good upgrade nonetheless. So I'd say check out that review between I've compared the Delchi and the clean. So if that gives you a little more clarity as to which one to get, I hope it helps. Moving on, Sudipta, hi. I'm actually a little confused between Tangzu 1 and SG2 and Kiwi Cadenza. What would you recommend for vocals, relaxed, laid back, little bassy sound with clarity? If bass is one of your go-to things, look at the Cadenza. The Tangzu is a bit temperamental. I found that when I play a lot of FLAC audio through that, it's not as sort of accentuated in the bass. In fact, it seems very flat sounding in the bass. But when I throw compressed music at it, a lot of compressed audio kind of emphasizes lower frequencies. So bass gets boomy even though it's compressed. Um, Whereas when you listen to FLAC, it's a bit easier. It's like it's a little more resolute, so it's not trying to thrust itself on you. So the Tangzu is temperamental, but the cadenza is able to I'd say do a much nicer job of a fullness in a more consistent manner compared to the Tangzu. So if you do have budget for cadenza, look at consider that. And also, I mean, if you've not seen my review on it, feel free to have a look at it. I hope that helps. And then moving on. Hi Paul, this is Anbu. Hi Anbu, I am planning to buy a soundbar for my hall. I'm using just the TV speakers. Want to buy a good sounding soundbar for a weekend binge. Please suggest some in the budget below 40K. So Anbu, if I'm being very honest with you, I've not sat and tested a lot of soundbars. I've heard a few briefly. JBL had sent me a few that I had to check out. I didn't get the chance to review them, very sadly. I was using them for an Amazon live session, but I did like what they had to offer. Um, Sub 40K is a good budget, I'd say. But what I will recommend is if you have a chroma next to you or whatever else, go and see if you can demo this stuff. Now, no doubt the placement and all is pretty shit because they make you stand in this little sort of cube area where the surround speakers are right behind you and the sound bar is in front. I presume it'd be much better spread out at your place. But ideally, if you can get a sound bar that has wireless detachable speakers that you can put at the back, that'll give you a much better sort of surround sound experience. If you're just wanting better sound, then your TV speakers, any sound bar with an added sub will sound better. In fact, Bose used to make a TV speaker without a sub. It sounded way better than TV speakers for sure. So you can look at them, but I don't know if they've discontinued that. That used to be around 20 grand or 22 grand or something like that. I forget now what it was even called, but my brother did pick up one. But yeah, if you're looking for better sound from instead of your TV speakers, anything's better, man. Even for that matter, if you can get your hands on the Harman Kardon Soundsticks 4, that's going to sound way better than your TV speakers, so but yeah, if you're looking for that sliver of a speaker that you want to put under your TV, go and demo it, listen to it with your own ears and see what you like. And let me tell you something, man. When you go to these places, the first thing a lot of these people do is crank the volume up to 100. That is the worst way to demo any audio equipment. So please, for the love of God, don't do that. Take the remote from the guy, put it back onto 25-30%. Nobody's listening to their stuff at 100% volume. See how it performs at a lower volume. Test it at a lower volume and take it up to maybe 40, 50, 60 if you want. But see how its dynamics are at a lower volume. The better the dynamics that there are at the lower volume, the better the speaker is, because any speaker will sound loud and bass heavy when the volume is cranked. You need to make sure that it's able to do all of that at a lower volume. So that's a quick tech tip, if you will. Hope that helps you, Anbu. Then bro, we will hit 25K at the end of the month. Ah, that's a sweet one, Aditya. But I'm not in it for the numbers, man. I'm happy to just help people. If I get the numbers, cool. But thanks so much. That's a very sweet thing to say. ABM, I think I will destroy hearing in a long time. Where was I? Over your headphones may be safe. Paul, can you comment on this? How do you protect your ears? Yeah, so AV has got a very interesting statement over here, because something that people don't realize is if you're using IEMs and you start cranking the volume up, the pressure they create within the ear doesn't have place to escape. With the headphone, it does, whether it's closed back or open back, even better, because a lot of the pressure escapes. Putting a certain amount of pressure is not good for the eardrum. uh, I mean, you guys have seen, I've always mentioned on all my videos not to listen to stuff above a certain volume, otherwise you will lose your hearing. Not that you can, you will lose your hearing. So it's important to practice safe hearing. But yeah, prolonged period of also having an IEM or earphone in your ear is not safe. And this might sound a little weird, but if your ears don't breathe, you can get infections. Meaning, if you're putting earphones in your ears or IEMs for 2-3 hours, 6 hours at a stretch, your ear has its own sort of microbiome going on. There's a lot of sort of earwax, which is kind of try to prevent a lot of things from going wrong. So if there's excessive buildup because it's not breathing, your earwax is not getting dry and falling out, and there are many factors. So on a sound front, yes, don't crank your stuff too high. Headphones are safer than IEMs on that front. Um, and yeah, just make sure if you're wearing earphones, take them out every half an hour, take a break, or every 45 minutes. Try not to keep them on for too long. But that's a good suggestion, AV. Thanks for that. Karthika, hi. Hi, nice to see you. Currently, I'm using our SIM-GOT, I presume. EW200 with TP35. Oh, that's a nice little lag. Low range upgrade. Okay. So EW200, 120 USD. Hang on, let me just quickly check how much is 120 USD. 10,000 rupees. Okay, for 10,000, um, Abu, I think for 10,000, what you might like is some of the stuff I reviewed. The OD200 is a very capable set of earphones, IEMs, and the Meze Alba. The Meze Alba comes with a DAC amp. It's not very great. In fact, if you pair the DAC amp with the TP35, I have tested the TP35. It's a nice, capable little DAC amp. It's got a good amount of power in it, and it does have those filters as well, as you know, since you do own it. But the Meze Alba or OD200 are two that I have tested. I haven't tested many, to be very honest with you, but I would recommend one of these. So feel free to watch my comparison. I compared the OD200 versus the Meze Alba versus the SIMGOT SM4. All very capable, but I think the Alba and OD200 will suit your need. And the EW200 it's not an expensive set of IMs, but having said that, I see the EW200 was more catered for classical music, Lighter stuff, jazz, blues, nothing electronic, nothing rock. There's not too much bass from that set of IEMs. It was catered, I think, more towards a lighter listen. So if that's not the kind of genre you like, it's the EW200 would not be for you. I'd say. I hope that helps you. AV. What is your experience with Linsole? What is your shipping experience to India? I haven't bought anything, but funnily enough, the first set of the first Warner I ever reviewed was sent to me by the guys at Linsole. They did send it across to me for review, and I didn't. I think they handle the shipping and the uh, customs and all that sort of stuff. So I don't know how it would be for somebody who orders something. Drexler, yes, under 3K, best IM that I like is the Kiwi Ears Cadenza. It's spot on, 2999. Very good value for money set. This is the one with the Headphone Zone collaboration. Feel free to go and check out my review on it. It's definitely a nice IM. You're new here. Nice to have you. And then Ritam, okay, hey Paul, what's the difference between high and low impedance IMs? Do low impedance IMs benefit from DAC amp, or can it actually hurt the sound quality? Usually it doesn't really. I wouldn't say it affects the sound quality because there's not much of a difference. What is the lowest resistance or impedance I've heard from IMs might be something like 24 or something, or was it lower than that? And they I've not really heard one that's above 50 ohms or 60 ohms. So they're all kind of a few ohms apart, at 20 odd to 30 odd and all. So it's not too significant to have any difference in power issues for being driven. um, the difference will be more in the DAC that you use for it. If you're using a really low power DAC, or for that matter, the DAC I'm using this is a MacBook Pro. When I plug in any IM into this, it's not a very good DAC. Apple claims it's got a very good amp. I don't doubt that. It's got a very good amp, but the DAC in it is quite bad. I prefer the D07 or DD Hi-Fi Hi-Res or Hi-Fi Go Link or any other DAC. The one in this is not good. So I think that will make more of a difference than the high and low impedance. I don't know if you've heard stuff with much higher uh, impedance on IMs, but I've heard only things between maybe a 26 at the lowest, and the highest has been like a 30 something. So not much of a difference in my experience. Pratik, hi. Paul, how are you? I guess surprise live. Pratik, I mentioned it in the morning. Did you not get a notification? I don't know if YouTube's changed things for notifications, but um, I did mention this live in the morning. Raj, life or death choice: IMs, headphones, speakers, or full blown home theater? My LS50 is paired with my Denon PMA 2000 IVR and with the rest of my setup. Uh, Stereophile, man, all the way. Speakers, it's just a matter of tuning or getting the room, not to be too reflective. Speakers, I've always been a speaker lover for the longest time. That I got into the whole audiophile thing with speakers to begin with. In fact, even though I've been doing this for 5 years, I still consider myself very new to the IEM world. I've not reviewed as many as some other people have, but I do prefer speakers and then headphones and then IEMs because those experiences are much larger. Speakers, in fact, I just came out with a video about the Yamaha NS600A. Man, those things can throw sound. So I remember sitting and listening to the music with my eyes closed, and with the speakers, some maybe about 6.5, 7 feet away from me, there were sounds coming from like 7, 8 feet off that side, and there was stuff coming from here. And those were pure stereo speakers, passive speakers, driven with a very good amp. And speakers are able to do that. Forget spatial audio and all. Stereo speakers, if placed well, properly in a room, can really achieve magic. So yeah, man, for me, speakers all the way, because even speakers, depending on how you place them, they can change their tonality, their character to a certain extent, not in tuning, but in imaging and staging. So, in fact, I used to have my LS50s placed. I've got like a long room, so I used to have them here near a window. and they were beautiful for imaging and soundstage. Absolutely sensational. Nice wide and tall stage. And then recently, I wasn't too happy because there was a lot of sunlight coming from there. I said, "Oh, my wires and all get screwed." So I've moved the speakers here, so it's a shorter distance. And because the LS50s are closer to a wall, the bass that comes out of these speakers for a set of bookshelves is almost that of a tower speaker, which is pretty amazing. So these speakers never cease to amaze me. So I'm always smiling whenever I listen to these speakers. Headphones and IEMs haven't done that for me. So yeah, for me, it's speakers all the way. Thanks for that question, Raj. Very cool question. Make video regarding speakers, how to choose them, etc. Abhishek, yeah, I'm trying to expand over to speakers slowly, but it's difficult sort of getting manufacturers to send demo stuff because these are, of course, more expensive things. Difficult to get your hands on. Shipping them, logistics is a problem. So I think that's a big reason why some brands haven't been able to send me speakers. But I mean, I'll keep at it. I'll keep trying, and I maybe do some more features like what you're suggesting. It's a good topic. Ah, Anbu, no problem. To please give me a video on how to read a sound graph. To do, I'm not myself not a fan of graphs. I don't like measurements. I think I've come out with a video about this why I don't like measurements. But it's fairly simple. If you play a piano or you know a piano, it's much like that. You have 88 keys on a piano, left side being the lowest, right side being the highest. I'm just giving you a brief, and all 88 keys go from lower frequencies to higher frequencies. Your graph is much like that. Your left side is usually your lowest frequency of say 20 hertz. Some do extend to even lower, and the high up to 20,000 hertz, and some do extend to 40,000 and 100,000 and all that sort of stuff. And usually the graph just shows you on a dB count, what um, sort of levels or what the tuning of this thing is at certain uh, levels. So usually what happens is they play a tone and they record to see. They do a tone sweep, so they check to see what dB level each thing is at. So you can see the signature of sorts being drawn out to show you where it's peaked and where it's not, and then they retune things to make sure it's a little different. It's pretty much like that. So to know what's louder, softer, things will be elevated in the upper mids, or the highs, or the lower mids will be rolled off, and the sub bass will be accentuated. It's pretty straightforward. It's an interesting thing, but I myself don't want to make a video on it because I'm not a fan of it, because I like to go more by the sound of something. I like to go by, if I like the sound or not. I tend to romanticize the topic of sound. So I don't like that very. I agree that the scientific method is good, but at the same time, when people get obsessed with reading graphs, they forget uh, the connect and feel that you're supposed to get from music. People sometimes get too analytical and then they forget to enjoy the music. So that's where I like to draw the line, basically. Um, where was I? Hi. Hi, well, I'm using the Chew 2 planning to get D07. Is that good? The D07 is a very good value for money DAC. I've reviewed it, I've compared it to the um, DD Hi-Fi DAC as well. It's a good value for money set. I've done a comparison between the two DAC amps. If you want to watch that, feel free to watch it. But yeah, I mean, I don't think you can go wrong with it, really. Sudipta, thanks, man. Really appreciate love from Calcutta. Oh, cool. Thanks, man. I used to recommend friends who are into some music who showed interest, but some of them just plug in every day 6 7 hours is not proper. But I am okay. Thanks for the recommendation. No problem, Dexla. I'll try to look up your analysis. Okay. How did you convince your wife to buy all these IMs and DACs? I haven't convinced my wife to buy anything. All of these things are mine. She doesn't enjoy this hobby as much as I do. But yeah, she's cool, man. She's pretty cool. As long as the stuff is in my studio, it's fine, and not in the rest of the house. I'm using SVS Ultra Bookshelf speaker with Denon PMA 720A. Is this a good pair? Any chance I can do to make it sound better? PMA 720. Hang on, let me see which one that is. Denon PMA 720. This is slightly old school stuff, man. When did the 720 come out? 2013. Nice. Very nice. What are the stats on this? I can't see the specs. Let me go back and see. The PMA series is pretty damn good, man. And in fact, this is a dedicated stereo, right? Um, this will push out what? 120 watts. Wow, that's pretty damn good. But at what impedance? Cool, cool. I'll research on this. But no, you should have a good setup, man. The SVS stuff I heard is pretty good. I haven't heard SVS stuff, but if you've got bookshelves and if you've got venting port at the back, there's a lot you can do with placement for bass. But yeah, again, coming to the placement is everything, man. If you pull it further away from the wall, you may not have the space to do this. Now, hear me out. You may not have space to sit your speakers away from the wall, but if they are currently 6 inches away from the wall or a foot away from the wall, I think they'll sound very bass heavy, right? The problem with bass heaviness is if there's a lot of accentuation in the lower frequencies, your imaging and your soundstage is affected along with your mid frequencies and high frequencies for detail. They tend to get muddied or muddled up. You're not going to get as much clarity as you can. Try pulling them out of the room, and by that I mean have it one third out of the in the not in the middle of the room, but sort of one third out, or yeah, as far as you can. I'm not saying leave them there. I'm saying pull them out at that level when you're listening to them. Put them up at listening level, ear level, wherever you're sitting, and try and get a triangulated seating position. So if your speakers are this far apart, you need to be that far apart from the speakers. So you triangulate yourself. Now, after you do that and you pull it that much further out, then test and see whether or not your imaging improves, your staging improves, and overall clarity. I can most likely give it to you in writing, it will with the compromise of losing bass. So this is the advantage with speaker placement. You can practically play around with bass and imaging and stage with placement. So do your listening sessions, spend a little time, listen to the tracks you've heard before and you're comfortable with and you know how they sound, and then just play again with the placement. Toe the speakers in, keep them straight, let them fire straight behind you, let them fire towards the bridge of your eyebrows or directly towards your ears. Play around with all that and see, because placement really is everything. Anyway, that's a nice amp you've got over there, the PMA. I myself have enjoyed the PMA series for years. I've got a 22-year-old, no, 23-year-old PMA myself. It's running pretty well. Hi, Paul. My name is. Oh, that's a mouthful. Cool, Shesh. Okay, actually, my question was which is better, JBL Livebeam 3 or JBL TuneBeam 2? Livebeam 3 or TuneBeam 2? Both have same specification, LDAC and display on case. Both have same features too. He says review spatial audio in Livebeam 3. Things are music and yes, I agree with what I said on ACSV, which is better in terms of sound. Don't get too roped into the whole SBC, AAC, and LDAC, because most earphones with LDAC are not good enough. Usually, IEMs with wired connections and high-res DAC benefit from LDAC more than wireless. But yes, having said that, if you are into spatial audio, you need to consider looking at the TuneBeam 2. Now, the thing is, the Livebeam 3, I do not know if they've done some sort of software update to make the spatial audio better, because my wife has nicked those. She's using the Livebeam 3 right now. So I can't test that until she gives me that set back and I can test it. But as per my experience then and my experience now with the TuneBeam 2, it's definitely, in fact, the TuneBeam 2, the TuneBuds 2, and the Flex 2 all do a very good job with spatial audio compared to anything else, including the Realme Buds Air 7 Pro. JBL has really done a very good tuning and job with that. So yeah, if you are into the whole thing for um, spatial audio, I'd say look at the TuneBeam 2. It's the latest set that's come out, and it's genuinely good at it. Sarang, hi, my budget is 3,000. Suggest me I am listening preference, natural, vocal, detail, wide sound, imaging. Sarang, check out my review on the Kiwi Ears Cadenza 2999 last I checked. Raj, hi. Planning speaker setup for my new 12 by 12 foot hall. Any tips for best sound in a small space? Do room size and shapes matter more than the gear? What would you pick that cozy setup? Yes, Raj. For that setup, let me let me put it very bluntly. Speakers in a room, you are hearing the room more than you are hearing the speakers. You are playing the room. So if you have bare walls, bare floor, bare ceiling, you're going to hear nothing but echo, reverb. It's going to be a mess. So you need to have your furniture, and that 12 by 12 is a good size. But one thing I will say, one thing I do is I always, even though I I'm only allowed to keep my speakers in a certain level because I have a wife. But when I listen to my music, I tend to pull my speakers much closer out to me, and I sit that much closer in, almost like a monitoring setup. But it again depends on what I'm listening to. I mean, am I in the mood to do all of that sort of stuff and all this sort of stuff? So anyway, good setup is triangulate yourself. If you were here, you would have heard me saying that. Just triangulate yourself. Play around with spacing from the walls, closer to the wall, further away from the wall, wider out together, closer in together. I mean, don't do it so close that it's mono, but so that you've got about, I'd say, a minimum of 3.5 to 4 feet apart or more, and then triangulate yourself and listen. But yeah, 12 by 12 is a healthy sized room, but try and, to make it not too alive. You don't want too much sound whipping across the walls. If it is your own place and you're not renting, one thing I will recommend is, a lot of the walls and ceilings meet at this right angle here. You get these guys who make this POP sort of design, with that weird design sort of stuff around the edges of the wall. That works very well as a diffuser. So there's a lot of excitement that can happen with a sound wave in a corner like this. But once they put that, POP sort of design, it'll help cancel out a lot of reverb to a certain extent. So you can try doing that as well in your room if you're planning on room treatment. And then look at, if you're okay putting sound panels and absorbers, I'd say start with furniture first before you start doing all that. If the furniture is not enough and you've put a rug and all that, then consider putting treatment. But yeah, I mean, happy listening session. That's a nice dedicated room. Moving on, I asked about impedance because I'm using the Toothia X Clinical Bluetooth, which has an impedance around 5.8 ohms. Oh wow, 5.8 ohms is really, really. I've never sort of seen or heard IMs that way. Um, Man, shit, that'll be a loud set of IMs if you've got a powerful amp in that case. Um, you're worried if you're overdriving them. So I've not tested the Moondrop Dawn Pro. I have heard that it's a nice piece of equipment, but it's not something I can comment on. I've not tested stuff like this that's so low in impedance and so on. So I'm not too sure what to do, and I have no shame in saying that I don't know about it. Like honestly, I think you might have to read up on it, and if you find out about it, let me know if you have any details because I'm happy to learn something new. But yeah, I've never really come across IEMs that are so sort of low. 5.8 ohms I've never come across. Raj, can we get a full video on your setup and studio tour? I've been thinking about it. Also, would love to hear your journey from first step into music to where you are now. Yeah, I'd like to share that someday. I've been toying with the idea. What is the air range? 10K to 20K in graph. The air range is basically what it is. It is air, and by that I mean I reviewed a tone control unit maybe a year, 2 years ago that uh, a neighbor of mine picked up. He's also a music enthusiast, and he bought a Duke Audio tone control with tubes because he wanted warmer sound. And the knobs he had, I think, was one was 20 hertz, one was um, yada yada yada. It had the usual 20, and then it went up to 250, and then one was, I think, 800, and then one was 2K, 4K, and whatever, and one was 16K. So he came to me and said, Paul, the 16K is not working. So I was like, if it's not working, you'll have to return it. So then I took it for some testing, and that's when I said, let me try it out. The 16K was working, But the thing is, 10K to 20K, like you're saying, is air. And by that I mean, if you listen to anyone who's talking, or if you listen to any guitar being played, if you listen to any drum being played, if you listen to any saxophone being played, if you listen to anything natural, any normal acoustic sound that is made naturally and has its own analog signal, it very rarely goes above 10,000 kilohertz. Very rarely. Maybe a max of 11, 12. The frequencies that exist between 10,000 hertz and 20,000 hertz are usually those of echo and reverb. So if you go to a cathedral and you start singing, there's a lot of that lingering sound, a voice that will linger, it will decay, it will take time to die out. That sound is whipping against the structure and, in a sense, amplifying itself and also resonating with its own weight. All of those frequencies sit in this 10,000 to 20,000 hertz range, which is called air. So a big reason why a lot of brands, or should I say companies, have come to the standard 20 kilohertz is because that's pretty much up to the a healthy ear can hear up to that. Usually there are some people that don't hear 20, some people hear 18. Now a lot of brands stick to the 20 hertz test because that's what a lot of people can hear. There are some headphones that can do up to, for example, the Yamaha YH5000 that I heard was tested up to, it was 5 hertz, which is lower than 20 hertz, 5 hertz to 70,000 kilohertz. Oh, sorry, 70 kilohertz or 70,000 hertz. The Sennheiser HD800s that are checked from, I think, 5 hertz or 10 hertz to 100 kilohertz. So that's 100,000 hertz, which is way higher than what we can hear. But they are normally tested to this extent because they want to see how they manage at higher frequencies so that they can handle the lower frequencies better. So if it can perform at 40,000 comfortably, chances are to be able to handle the 20,000 with not too much excitement, with more, sort of better posture rather than, trying to really cram this frequency out. So yeah, basically 10 to 20 is air. That's what it is. It's a lot of echo reverb because very rarely does anything go above the 10,000 kilohertz sound naturally. I hope that answers your question. AVAV, I agree with your comment on speakers. Initially, I planned to buy a soundbar for my TV. Then I tried my Edifier bookshelf speakers and was surprised by the output. Very good for a medium size room. Yes, Edifier also, man. I want to review some Edifier speakers actually. I've heard some good stuff about them. Ella, hi. Thanks a lot for your suggestion, Paul. Happy to help. Spammy, hi, Paul. How are you doing these days? I'm fine. Been a bit busy, man. It's been ages since I've been online, on live. So I thought I'll just throw one live session in today. It's fun. Dion, what are you talking about? Oh, actually, these are all late comments. Yeah, guys, please be aware that my wife is part of this conversation over here. She doesn't like to miss out. She's got FOMO. Order the Orivati Black just now with the Fit Bluetooth DAC. What is the Fit Bluetooth DAC, man? Fit. When in doubt, Google. What is it's called? Fit? I don't know, man. Yeah, no. So if you're using Bluetooth, I wouldn't recommend that. I'm not a fan of wireless for IEMs. But I did like the Oriveti, but it's a very V-shaped signature, if I remember right. It's definitely trying to have. It's for fun. It's for a fun listen. It's not really so analytical, but it was fun. If you got Apple Music, I'd say use it with a wire. Yeah, like use a proper DAC. Not don't go wireless with it. If you're doing wireless for convenience, okay. But if you're looking for detail, use a wired setup. Cyan, thanks a lot. I like your every video. Love your content. Thank you, Cyan. I see you regularly in the comments. I recognize your display picture. Nice to see you here as well. You have a wife, really? Oh God, Dion. Didi, he mentions her in some of his videos. Yes. I'm hoping we will at least get Oppo Air 5 Pro in India whenever it launches, unlike Air 4 Pro. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, A3 was the last one to come. But one thing I say, before I met Paul, I was one of those who listened to any crappy earphones, the ones who keep wiggling. Made me listen to some awesome stuff and I can't go back. Our daughter too, water too, is resets. Yeah, I've made sure that my wife and daughter have good ears. They've heard good stuff, so they know what sounds good. Question in detail. No issue, Monel. Avi, now I'm wondering, are you a sound engineer? Avi, I thought I had mentioned this to you guys. I did a little bit of it. Sarang, my budget is 50,000. I want to build 2.1 stereo. Suggest me best configuration or make a video. 50,000 is a very good budget. Um, but at the same time, you will have to split it up. Um, if your budget is 50,000, I'd say spend more on speakers. I'd say maybe look at spending around how much you want a 2.1. That means you want a sub. I'd say you can save a lot of money on the amp if you get a TB10D from Fuzzy Audio. That's a pure 2.0 setup. It's not a sub amp, and spend a good. That amp is around 7 or 8 grand. Spend the remaining money. Spend 43,000 on a good set of speakers. You can get good stuff for that price. I think Polk Audio has some good stuff. Kef, you're not going to get stuff there anymore. What else is there? Yamo. I mean, you're going to get some bookshelves most likely, but maybe not towers. But yeah, if you specifically want a point one setup, you'll have to look at a different amp that supports a sub output as well, and then you'll have to cater to that. If you're looking for a proper stereo setup, and I mean stereo file setup 2.0, you should be able to fit better speakers. And why I say spend on the speakers, this is a mistake that a lot of people make. They tend to look at speakers as the let's spend least over there and spend more on the hardware. That's the wrong way to do it. Always spend more on the speakers, always spend more on the headphones, always spend more on the IEMs. And then if you spend less on an amp or a DAC, whether it's portable or a one that you keep at home, you can always upgrade that equipment. A speaker is something that can last you decades. It can last you a lifetime. I myself am using speakers. Some speakers I have well over 22, 24 years old, and they're going strong. So never hesitate to spend more on speakers, because later it's better to expand on your hardware than your speakers. Rudranj, hi, my DAC Headphone Zone high-res DAC is not working with Headphone Zone Tangzu, but they're working separately. What? How did that happen? Because the Tangzu has a standard 3.5 mm jack. That's very strange. That sounds very bizarre. Bluetooth that get to okay. Can you review headphone like cost case C75 KSC75? What is the KSC75? Let me check. KSC75. I have reviewed a set of retro style headphones from Rose's Elsa. I wasn't too taken with them. They look better than they sounded, but yeah, I know what you're saying. Cost has got some really good stuff. I maybe I'll ask the guys at Headphone Zone to send me a demo unit or something. If your IEM's headphones could talk, what would they complain about the most? Raj, man, you're making me want to have more live sessions. These are some hilarious questions. What would they complain about the most? I think me not spending enough time with them, because there was a time where I had come back from work and plug in. I'd say today's an HD 800 day, which is this one. Then I'd sometimes say today is an HD 800 day. Then I'd say today is a DT 990 day, and so on. And they have different characters, different sounds, different genres work very well with each of them. And I'd spend a lot of time with them plugged into my setup, which was always good fun. And the thing is, after I started the YouTube channel, it's like I'm spending a lot of time reviewing stuff. If you've seen my reviews, you know that I really like to get to know a product before recording my videos. So I feel bad because a lot of these guys are severely neglected. In fact, usually I pick them up and dust them a bit and say, "Oh, how sad! I'll listen to them for a little while." But I have not been spending as much time with them as I want to, as much as I'd like to. Likewise, even with my speakers, my LS50s and all, I have to really make the time to go and plug it into my listening room and listen. So there was a time when I used to plug this LS50 into this amp. This is a beautiful synthesis flame amp. It's a tube amp, and the LS50 sounded really gorgeous with this. But over here in this studio, they're very close to the wall. I do pull them out sometimes, but yeah, they're great for edits and everything. But then the edits I do, it's not justified. It's just more vocals than anything else. So I usually take it to my listening room and listen to it there. But yeah, it's difficult to make the time after starting YouTube for my own music, but I do manage sometimes. Thanks for that question. Very nice question, man. Thank you. My dad. Yeah. So Ruzansh, I think uh, I really don't know what's wrong. You spoken to the guys at Headphone Zone about this? Olivetti Blackbird is a very V-shaped sound signature. I have reviewed it. You can feel free to watch my review on it. It's a fun sounding IM. It's catered towards a fun listen. It's not particularly analytical. It's just fun. It's one of those sets that can be quite enjoyable. Edify has a good sub. Okay, I'm using it under 12K. Oh, that's not bad for a sub. 12K is pretty good for a sub. Combo from Headphone Zone or Blackwood with Fio wireless. Yeah, it should be good. Yeah, Fio is making good stuff. But yeah, again, I really wouldn't recommend Bluetooth stuff. If you get IEMs, man, you should use wired. Go on to Apple Music, or if you've got access to FLAC stuff, good recordings, go wired. If you're going to IEMs, do wired. Avoid the Bluetooth stuff. I'm here when I saw you live, but don't have a good question to ask. That is okay. No problem. You can always just learn from what there are a lot of. I'm learning from you guys, man. There's a lot of you guys who teach me new stuff. So this is a nice place to be. Yeah, nice. Okay, Vikram. Hi, Paul. What's a good upgrade from Meze album, mainly in terms of improved soundstage, low end performance? Have a look at my review of Meze Alba versus OD200 versus SM4. All very good IEMs. In fact, the Meze Alba itself, if you have by any chance been pairing it with the DAC amp provided with it, pick up a better DAC amp. I've plugged it into an Hi-Fi Go Link, Rose's Elsa RZ550, uh, DD Hi-Fi Iris DAC, Audio Killer D07. Everything sounded better. The Alba sounded better with every other DAC. So if you have the Alba, chances are you can make it sound much cleaner, crisper. It gets much better character when you pair it with a better DAC amp. So that can sort of help you yourself. But yeah, otherwise I'd say give the OD200 a check. Check out the the OD200 and SM4. SimGod also came out with the ET142. I forgot about the ET142. Very musical sounding set of IEMs. I really did like that. I can't believe I forgot about it. Check out my review on that as well. It's a very nice sounding set of IEMs. I did enjoy it. Rudransh, you're saying you plug the DAC in a boat headphone and sound comes from both sides, but quality was cheap. Is there any problem with the DAC? Um, why are you plugging it into both headphones? So you're saying when you plug in both headphones through it through the cable, you hear sound from left and right channel, but when you plug in to the Headphone Zone Tangzu IEMs, you get sound from only one side. Is that what you're saying? To how much difference is there between LDAC and wired? LDAC is a cap. LDAC is your LDAC ceiling is about 990 kbps. Okay, so that's a codec support. If you are playing a FLAC file through a good DAC and you plug in a headphone or IEM into it, you are feeding your ears with up to let's say 5 Mbps. Ultimate dynamics, ultimate detail, yada yada yada. The minute you send that same file through LDAC, that 5 Mbps is only coming to you at 990 kbps. So that is the difference between wired and wireless, which is why I still prefer wired. I have upgraded from Chew to Blackbird. Is that way upgrade a fan from Chennai? Hey, I've done lots in detailing for audio products. It is my decision of buying both from your reviews. Oh wow, that's nice to know. Um, Blackbird is a very different sounding set of IMs from the Chew. Then again, the only Chews I've heard is the first gen. I've not heard the Chew 2, and that to the DSP for sure I've not heard. Um, but yeah, it's a different flavor. It's tuned to be more fun. It's not as accentuated. I think is in the highs as the Chew first gen. Um, it's a fun listen. The Blackbird is there to be a fun listen. It's not particularly uh, you know uh, there to be analytical. So you buy a Blackbird to have fun with your music. You want more bass, you want more enthusiasm. That's what it's for. Rudranch, okay, fine, I've understood what you said. You might have a cable issue with your IMs. So, for example, if your left IM is working and your right IM is not, unplug this cable 0.78, connect it into the other IM and see if it's still playing. If that is the case, then one of the cables is giving trouble, the one that's feeding the IM. If the this cable that's driving this IM is plugged into the right and it still doesn't make sound, that means that the IM is has packed up. It's not working. So if you still have a warranty on it, get in touch with the folk at Headphone Zone. They should be able to help you out with that. And yeah, it's a matter of just figuring it out. If it's a cable issue, try buying a new cable. If it's under warranty, they should hopefully give you a new this thing. Fan from Chennai. I think I've got a lot of people who've been writing to me from Chennai. Maybe I need to come there for a Headphone Zone event. Let's see. No, I have not listened to Tamil songs. I have, I think, heard one. There was a gentleman I met at one Headphone Zone event, and he wanted me to listen to some of the songs he liked. So I spent time with him, and we did that. So one thing I do know is that they are beautifully produced. The recording, the mixing, and all I've heard is top notch. It's top level. So there's some good stuff out there. Tutu, FLAC files are very rare. Have you checked out HD tracks? I've been going to HD tracks for years. HD tracks, you get all sorts of bit rates, different formats. You can get AIFF, you can get FLAC. You can try that. And also, oh damn, I have gone past the 1 hour mark, so I think I need to start wrapping up. Yeah, I think they've already had a Chennai session, so I may not come this year, maybe next year. But this year, I in fact missed the one that happened in my city. I didn't go for it because I was traveling. So I'll try. I'll try going to some cities and meeting people if they're interested. That is, let's see. In fact, maybe I can talk to Headphone Zone if they want to fly me there or something. Do a meet and greet with some of you guys. 7 hertz legato not tested. In fact, I need to start testing a few more IMs, but I'm taking a small break from audiophile stuff. But Orivetti Blackbird is a fun listen. It's a V-shaped signature. It's there for fun. It's tuned for fun. Where do you get your high-res music for testing? Any go-to platform or offline sources? Also, would love if you could share a list of your reference tracks someday. Yeah, man, I've been wanting to do this. In fact, when the channel turned 5 years, I said, "Oh, I'm going to come out with some stuff." I've not had the time to do it, so hopefully soon. I'm not going to put a date on it, but hopefully soon I'll be able to share all these things with you. Um, my go-to has always been HD tracks. HD tracks has got good stuff. The thing is, it is a bit expensive in the sense if you're buying FLAC from HD tracks 192.24, it can cost you as much as a vinyl does. So in those cases, if I can get a vinyl, I'd rather have a vinyl because I like actually having tangible media. But when I don't, it's I mean you own it. So once you even if you lose your music, you just log in back to HD Tracks and you can download it again if you've bought the album. So HD Tracks has been a long time favorite of mine from geez 2012 2013 is when I started experimenting with digital. Before that, I was doing, you know, CDs, tapes, vinyls, MDs, all that sort of stuff before I got into digital. Please do visit Kolkata. Yeah, I have visited Kolkata, but not for. I've done for work, but not for um Headphone Zone stuff. I'll talk to them, man. Maybe they might be interested in having me there for a meet and greet. I wouldn't mind. It'll be fun. Let me chat them up a bit and see what can be done. So yeah, guys, I think that's pretty much it. I think we're done. We've done 1.5 hours so far. Sorry, it's taken so long. I've not been live for a very long time. I think the last time I went live was Jan or Feb or something like that. So I'll try and do these more often. But having said that, I'm toying with the idea of starting up members only benefits. So I might also do members only um, lives, so I can talk to you guys more independently, individually, rather than have you wait for so long so I can get back to your responses. So I'll figure it out once I know what I'm doing with the channel. I'll come out with this sort of quick video and update and let you guys know what I'm doing. But yeah, thanks for being here. Whoever is still here, who's been here from the start, and whoever's hung around, thank you so much. It's been fun as always. And I will go and start bothering my wife for distracting me during this live session. And thanks to all of you for being here. And hopefully, I'll do a live soon again sometime. Let me know. No, no, no. I'm signing off now. Spam me. The chat is dying out anyway. Yeah, everyone's going. I think slowly slowing down. It's 9:30 on a Saturday. On a Friday. Everyone's getting tired. So I'll head off. Cool, guys. So thanks so much for being here. And remember to check out my videos and all. Hey, listen, if you guys haven't seen my stuff on the Yamaha stuff, please go and watch that. I enjoyed making those videos. Yamaha gave me that opportunity for the YH5000 a year and a half ago. I only just come out with the video. Then I've spoken to the YSP 5600 and the NS600A. All very cool equipment they've got. So check those videos out if you haven't already. Drop a comment. I'll show it to them if you guys are interested in demoing them and all. Cool. See you guys. Good night. And whoever contributed towards the channel, thanks so much. That's very sweet of you guys. I don't know if you're still here, but AV, thank you. And Sumanta, thank you. That's very sweet of you. Whatever you guys have donated towards the channel will keep the channel alive. Thank you ever so much. And as always, a lot of the affiliate links are in the description. If you guys do want to buy anything and support the channel, you can do that. If you don't want to know it, no issue, no stress. You guys can buy it directly from whichever source. And of course, thank you again. Good night, guys. See you and happy listening as always. Bye. See you.